Hope you're well. So, we did a pumpkin liqueur not that long ago, and instead of doing a pumpkin wine, I thought it would be good to do another kind of gourd. So I got this. This is butternut squash. For those that are not in the know, really tasty, really good. And we're going to be using this to create butternut squash wine. Cool. So I have 2 butternut squashes. They weigh approximately 2 kilos-ish. That's a good point if you want it more butternut squashy. I suppose that's a word, it is now. Add more butternut squash. But it's a good flavour, we're just getting the essence of butternut squash. And I am going to be using, thanks to my patrons, white grape concentrate. You don't have to use it. We could make it like a fruity wine where we're just using the fruits, but I want this to be like a light wine. Other alternatives are a whole bag of sultanas and raisins, and then some tannin in the form of tea, but this already has everything I need. Nice and easy for our gallon batch. Now I am going to be making this wine clear, which means I'll be using pectolase and amylase. Just to cover all bases, the people that are going to be trying this wine next year for a barbecue, a kind of family gathering with my other half's family. They're pretty funny about how things look, so I'm going to be doing that to make it clear. If you don't care about if it's clear or not, don't add it. It doesn't do anything apart from change how it looks. Makes it clear. That's it. So, that being said, let's do this. The first step that we need to do in making a squash wine is to cut up the squash. Well, you could try and boil it whole, but it's going to take a very long time, so I'm going to use the frozen one first. Actually, that's not bad. I'm going to go through and I'm going to de-skin both of my squashes. So, once you've gone through and dehusked that armour on the outside of your butternut squash, it's time to cut into the bad boy. Go. Now we just go through and remove all of the seeds. We don't need them. So we've gone through, de-skinned everything, took out the seeds. Now I have saved the seeds because I can feed them to my mouse. He likes seeds, what can I say? So now it's all been cleaned and de-skinned. We can now cut these into chunks. For some reason the frozen one is frozen one works better. It's a lot easier to cut this one, even though it's still semi-frozen. And it's up to you if you want large chunks or small chunks. I'm going for whatever chunks I kind of cut up. And there we go. So I've gone ahead and I've cleared everything up. All of our squash is now in here. So it's up to you how much water you use. The more water you add in for the boil, the longer it's going to take to cool down. Now I'm just going to use around 2 litres of water for this, because I want it to cool down quicker. So turn it on and pour in our boiling water. You can use cold water if you choose. Just, it cooks faster. So this has now been simmering away for about 20 minutes once it came up to the boil, so about 30 minutes in total. And well, it is now done. I've stuck a knife into it and it didn't scream at me, so it is done. So this is clean, but it's not sterilized. Pop it in there for a second. That sterilizes it. It was already clean to start off with, it's just to be OCD. Now I'm going to be removing out my butternut squash. This is because it is now done with, and I want to eat the butternut squash, because I can. It makes a really tasty soup. So I can turn this off now, and now I can extract my butternut squash. Oh yeah, looking good, because the bit that we want is the liquid. And there we go. All of the butternut squash, all the big solid chunks, have been removed. Now I'm going to be adding in my cheeky kilo of sugar. It's a lot easier to add into hot water. Dissolves quicker. Now I would add in my grape concentrate, but I'm going to show you the colour before I add it in. So in goes my kilo of sugar. And since this has already been sterilised, I'm also going to add in my yeast nutrient because it dissolves quicker. 1 teaspoon of that. Now everything has been dissolved, so we need to cool it down. The best way to do that is a cold water bath, which just means fill your sink up with cold water and dump this in. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So it's taken about 30 minutes for our lovely butternut squash jus to cool down to a reasonable temperature. My whole butternut squash is still very warm. But it tastes really good. It's like a cross between a potato, a sweet potato, and a pumpkin. Very, very tasty. Anyway, so while I was waiting for this to cool down, I've rinsed out and finished sterilising my container. 5-litre one, so I definitely get a gallon batch. I've gone through and I've sterilised my worktop and the equipment I'm going to be using with bleach and washing up liquid and rinsing it off. So, let's take our first look at our squash wine. Now, I am going to be using a funnel and a strainer. There is still a few bits on the top here. The less bits that you add into your demijohn, the less likely it is to puke everywhere. And this is no exception, so the sugar has already been dissolved in, so all we've got to do, pour this through. Almost looks a lot like, well, a kind of carrot liqueur. It's not. It is a lovely butternut squash. Here we go, just get rid of all the drips. And that is what I didn't want in my demijohn. Looking lovely. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my wine concentrate. There we go. It smells like wine concentrate. Now this will add some extra body, a bit of tannin, just to make the flavours really quite tasty. That's why I added it in now instead of before. I wanted to show you the colour of the really kind of orangey butternut squash. So now I'm going to top this up. That's looking about right. Now the grape concentrate does change the colour very, very slightly, as in it's completely a different colour, but that should come through in the end result, making it sort of an orangey white wine colour. We will see how it turns out, but I have a theory of how it will look in the end. Now, I'm going to go ahead, pardon me, excuse me, it's eating all that butternut squash. I'm going to go ahead and add in my pectolase and my amylase. I'm attacking it on both fronts since there will be a very small amount of pectolase in there, and I want this to be clear when it's finished. So in goes a cheeky teaspoon. Since I'm going to have to shake this up, as you can tell, it's two different colours. Might as well add in these bits now. In goes a cheeky spoon. Even if there's not a lot of pectolase, pectin in here, as in there should be very, very little, maybe a little bit from the wine, still best to do it if you want a clear product. And that's exactly what I want. Come. Oh no, I finished my amylase. Oh well, never mind. So let's give this a shake and see what the potential alcohol should be. Looks pretty much all one colour. Pretty cool. So, got my sterilised hydrometer that I've put in fresh water. And let's just give this a minute to stop bobbing about. So I gave it a couple of minutes just to work out where I wanted to be, you know what it's like with hydrometers, and it is reading right at the 15% mark, so I can take this out now. So that is, if it ferments to dryness, of course, 15%, but that is reading 992 on the hydrometer. Pretty cool. So that's not really surprising considering we added in a kilo of sugar, that's about 11%. Then we also had 250 ml of the wine grape concentrate, which is about an extra 250 grams, so that's what, 1.2 kilos of tasty sugars added in there. And there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy because of the carbohydrates in the butternut squash. Ooh, can't help myself. So tasty. So I'm not expecting this to go to complete dryness. It is up at 15%. It should be somewhere around the 14% mark, so the rest is carbohydrates. The amylase will get most of that, hopefully, and end up with a lovely, beautiful, clear product with a nice orange tinge to it. That's the idea. So, the yeast. So I'm going to be using a universal wine yeast. This one is the Gervin universal wine yeast. And I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the top. And that's as good to go. Just stick our lid on. Give it a little, so it still lets the air out. And that's us done. We have created a butternut squash wine that should, hopefully after a little bit of aging, be really, really tasty. That's the idea. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out some of the other ones and, well, subscribe if you feel like it. Get on numbering, guys. See you later. Butternut squash. Sure good. So I just want to take a second to thank my patrons. They're helping me grow the channel, upgrade my equipment, all of that fantastic stuff. And as a thank you to them and for future patrons, I also do 4 Patreon-only videos per month. So it's pretty handy if you want a little bit extra. So there's some other links to videos down below, and of course the Patreon and subscribe button. Don't forget to check those out. See ya.